So it seems that Index Hereticus World Eaters is going to be coming out in June. Let's talk about it and what it's likely to contain. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're talking about the dawn of the impending rage that is World Eaters, and just a little bit of news that was spotted from White Dwarf a good few days back, though I didn't get enough chance to catch it and make a short update at the time. Basically, the main news is that Index Hereticus World Eaters is going to be coming in June, and I think we can make at least some educated guesses as to what's going to be in it, and it does mean that Codex Chaos Space Marines is likely going to be out at a very similar time. So as Games Workshop revealed a week or so back at Warhammer Fest, there will be a new World Eaters Codex coming. It sounds like Angron's Angry Legion are going to be getting their own treatment very similar to the Death Guard and the Thousand Sons, no doubt with some Khorne Berserkers, a bunch of HQ choices, Angron himself, and probably a Demon Engine or two. From the Warhammer Fest previews, it sounds like the World Eaters book is going to be coming out pretty significantly after the Chaos Marine one. From the hints that they were giving, it sounds like it really isn't going to be out till fairly late in the year, and I think that the only reason that they've actually mentioned it at the moment is because it would become really apparent with the release of Codex Chaos Marines that World Eaters weren't going to be in it, and obviously that would kind of announce in itself that they were going to be getting their own book independently. To bridge the gap, they said that they're going to have some new White Dwarf rules, a short section called an Index Hereticus that will basically allow World Eaters to continue to be a playable army and still allow you to put your Khorne Berserkers on the tabletop, as otherwise if they were written out of Codex Chaos Marines, they'd weirdly cease to exist as a faction for a few months until whenever their book actually drops. This update is now officially confirmed to be coming in June, as someone's uploaded a photo of an excerpt from the previous White Dwarf issue saying that World Eaters are in the next update, and that White Dwarf is going to be on sale on the 17th of June. I'm sure those updates will be aimed to be releasing at a similar sort of time to Chaos Space Marines. Their release schedules don't often always align up absolutely perfectly. For example, we saw Night rules and Eldar supplement rules slightly before their actual codexes dropped, but it does give us a pretty decent estimate that Codex Chaos Space Marines will be out by this time in June. So it seems like the long wait is going to be coming to an end, hopefully an official Chaos Space Marine release sometime within the next month or so. As to what's actually going to be in this Index Hereticus for World Eaters, I think we've actually got some fairly decent clues, and my guess is that it's going to be quite similar to the Index Astartes documents that they released when the new Codex Space Marines dropped. They had an Index Astartes for, say, Black Templars, Dark Angels, Death Watch, and a couple of others. These were the ones where a bunch of independent lone codexes went to being supplements for Codex Space Marines, so it just meant that their previous books didn't gel in any way with the way that Space Marines worked now. And the rules did give them some decent content, some unique army-wide special rules like the Dark Angels Inner Circle one to make their Terminators really tough, and the reimagined data sheets and stat lines for all their unique units and characters. They also reprinted a fair chunk of the Warlord traits, relics and stratagems from the Psychic Awakening books, but it was kind of interesting that they didn't actually do a complete reprint. A lot of options mysteriously went missing or got a few small tweaks just to make sure that they weren't interfering with the main codex in ways that weren't intended. I'm going to guess that if Games Workshop's issuing it this way, then it's probably just going to be a White Dwarf only supplement, and it isn't going to be a digital download as well. And I think that is kind of a shame, really, as it could just be a bit awkward if you did want to get a copy of the rules for the interim until World Eaters actually comes out, and then presumably the White Dwarf goes off sale, so you might not be able to find it very easily. Probably not really the biggest issue in practice, though. You could get rule sources second hand, and I have a feeling that when the index is out, a bunch of people will share it all over the internet anyway. For my predictions as to what we're actually going to see in the index, I feel like we're going to get 2 data sheets, probably just the one for Khan the Betrayer and Khorne Berserkers. I think out of Codex Chaos Marines, they're the only ones that are pretty much World Eater unique. Khan the Betrayer definitely has the World Eaters tag, so he's pretty much confirmed, and the Khorne Berserkers in the leaks for Codex Chaos Space Marines were rumoured to be out, as were all the other Court Marines in the Codex aside from the Emperor's Children Noise Marines. Apparently Chaos Space Marines are in some way going to have a way where they can soup the Court Marines in from their other codexes, so say borrow a squad of Rubrics from the Thousand Sons, or a squad of Plague Marines from the Death Guard. I guess that could still allow you to field Khorne Berserkers as, say, part of an allied Black Legion force, where I think there is some lore about some Black Legion Khorne Berserkers existing. The Hounds of Abaddon, I believe. If that is the case, it could be a bit annoying if you have an Iron Warriors or Word Bearers force, and you did have a fair few Khorne Berserkers within your ranks. It wouldn't be the most helpful having to get a whole different rule source just for one unit if you want to field it, though I guess maybe it's Games Workshop trying to not duplicate datasheets, in the same sort of way that we've had alternate datasheets for Rubric Marines and Thousand Sons Rubric Marines going around at the moment, one with 1 wound and one with 2. In any case, I'd certainly be watching out for upgraded stats on both of those. The Khorne Berserkers rewritten I'm sure will have their 2 wounds, and they might have at least 1 extra attack going into their main profile as well. I feel if even the standard legionaries, rank and file of the Chaos Space Marines are going to have a base of 3 whopping attacks, I'd be kind of surprised if the Khorne Berserkers didn't have at least 1 more than that, and maybe more. It'd be interesting to see whether or not their Fights Twice mechanic also gets included. I feel like there's at least some possibility Games Workshop might decide to trade that out for just making their base attacks stronger or more numerous. Other than those two, I think the only real candidate for moving to World Eaters could be the Khorne Lord of Skulls, the super heavy demon engine. My guess would be that that will probably still be a generic Codex Chaos Marines option, maybe with an alternate datasheet in the World Eaters Codex once it drops, though I guess it is in a kind of similar space to the Khorne Berserkers at the moment, openly affiliated to Khorne, but not necessarily everyone belonging to the World Eaters themselves. Otherwise, my guess would be that they'll get a basic Legion trait of some sort. It might just be the same one that they have now, or it might be the new one that they might be getting in their new book. Most likely some rules to allow them to gel with the new Codex Chaos Space Marines. They might have some sort of unique super doctrine type thing for their assault doctrine to make it even nastier. And then my guess would be that they'll include a small selection of warlord traits, stratagems and relics, maybe just a reprint of what they got in Psychic Awakening. Though again, I think like the Index Astartes, there's a reasonable chance they might well lose some options, maybe anything that doesn't gel particularly well with the main codex, though I feel like perhaps the vast majority of the World Eaters options wouldn't be too strong in combination with their new decks with different options. In any case, I look forward to having a look over the Index Hereticus once we get it. I'm looking forward to reviewing some new World Eaters rules, and the same for the standard Codex Chaos Marines when it drops. I'm sure Games Workshop will keep a few previews coming before then. So anyway, let me know what you think that this update might grant us down in the comments below. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and ideas as always. And finally, if you have been enjoying a fair few videos on the channel, I would just like to mention one way in which you can help support, and that's the Auspex Tactics Patreon page down in the video description below. Making all the videos does take a fair amount of time and effort, so if you are enjoying a lot, then any support is enormously appreciated. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits every month. If any of that sounds good to you or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.